want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hey guys, Paul Shirey at JoBlo.com. I am here at CinemaCon 2019 here in Las Vegas, and I just got out of the Disney presentation. You may have already seen our videos for the Avengers Endgame scene and the Toy Story 4 video. This is more of a all-encompassing thing for the stuff that we missed. Disney put out a lot of great stuff, and there's also some very interesting tidbits with the merger with Fox. So I wanted to mention some of that stuff and catch you guys up to speed, because a lot of it caught me by surprise in a good way, and I thought it was kind of cool how they integrated things. So let's get into what I saw at the rest of the Disney presentation. So to kick it off, the Disney presentation started with a big sizzle reel like they normally do, and it started highlighting a bunch of the normal Disney films, but then we started seeing a whole bunch of Fox titles worked into there. So we saw footage from Aliens, we saw footage from Predator, we saw footage from Die Hard, we saw footage from Home Alone, we saw footage from Avatar. All kinds of Fox titles were mixed in with the Disney stuff, which was, I mean, for us, for people that have been following these studios for as long as we have, it's a very interesting thing. It's, in a way, it's a little bit shocking. Also saw Simpsons integrated into there, so that's another one, again, an animated and a film property. So seeing that with the Disney logo now is, it kind of takes you back. You know, it's a little shocking, but cool and weird at the same time. I don't know. It's mixed emotions, I should say. But one thing became readily apparent in that opening sizzle reel is that the Disney-Fox merger is underway, and they are integrating. So these titles are being embraced as Disney titles now. Even though they still have the Fox logos up there, it's almost like the 20th Century Fox and Fox Searchlight brands are now part of Disney. So it's like as if they are embracing those as brands underneath Disney. So it's going to be interesting to see how they integrate these properties going forward, whether they'll keep that, drop that, who knows, if they'll change it later. But as of right now, everything that's Fox is now Disney, and they're very much embracing that. One thing that we also saw in the opening was Hugh Jackman in X-Men. So that was kind of strange seeing, you know, an X-Men property with the Disney presentation here at CinemaCon. It's very kind of like, what? But it makes sense. They also showed Deadpool, quite a bit of Deadpool, and they even showed Ryan Reynolds' tweet where he showed Deadpool on the bus, like first day of school, you know, going back to going to Disney. And then they also mentioned, hey, be ready to see much more of Deadpool in the years to come. So anybody that's concerned about, you know, hey, are they going to do something with Deadpool? Absolutely. That's a huge moneymaker for Fox, a huge character for Fox, or for Disney now. So of course they're going to embrace that. They also really embraced Dark Phoenix. So we all know that the Dark Phoenix is kind of the culmination of all of the Fox X-Men films, but they presented it with Disney. So I don't think that in any way means that this is going to be connected to how they reboot or treat the property going forward, but it is interesting to see Dark Phoenix linked with Disney. But I guess they kind of have to, since they own it. They did show us a really quick kind of sizzle reel trailer, extended trailer of Dark Phoenix, which was pretty cool. It didn't really show too much of what we hadn't seen before, but it did show a bit more of Jean Grey embracing the powers kind of in a way that she likes. So I think a lot on the trailers so far, they showed her to be very tormented and torn, but in this one they kind of showed that she was actually kind of liking the powers, which is pretty cool and very true to the Dark Phoenix comics. So one other thing that they did mention during the kind of the Fox merger, which, you know, again, they did address, it wasn't like an elephant in the room, it was very much, these are now our brands, here they are, this is us, kind of thing. They did mention that they planned on making more Aliens, Alien films in the franchise. They did plan on making more like Deadpool type stuff, so there's definitely going to be more Deadpool. They also mentioned there's going to be more Kingsman, which we already know Matthew Vaughn is well underway making the other Kingsman prequel film. And then they also mentioned Planet of the Apes. So, you know, that we all know that Matt Reeves closed out the Caesar Apes trilogy, but it looks like, you know, Disney is looking forward to making more Planet of the Apes films. There's so much more to explore with that, so why wouldn't they? It's a great property. I couldn't imagine that wouldn't be part of the buying process. We're like, hey, we get Fox, we get Apes. You know, that's a big deal. Also, we also have the James Cameron's Avatar films. Was there like 12 of them? That's not 12, but it's a lot. It feels like 12. but now that's under Disney as well. So that's a stacked deck. The other thing that they had mentioned was movies like Bohemian Rhapsody, The Martian, and The Greatest Showman, all which were big hits for Fox, but they were kind of off the beaten path. Those weren't franchise films. They were just kind of one-offs that, you know, either were adapted from a book or a story, a biopic, things like that, and they expressed that they did want to continue to make films like that. So anybody that was concerned, like, hey, we're not going to get movies like that anymore, I guess this was their way trying to assuage those fears. We'll see. Time will tell how much Disney embraces it or doesn't, but that's what they put out today in terms of what they're embracing. So the other thing that they did was they showed a sizzle reel for the 25th anniversary of Fox Searchlight. Now, Fox Searchlight has put out tons and tons of great films. Too many to list here, but they did a real nice retrospective on all the great films they've made, how many have won Oscars, Golden Globes, nominations, things like that. And it was just a really great reel to look back at all of these great films that they've made, and it's always been a big concern with this merger is like, is that going away? Is the branch of Fox that made these, you know, kind of small, personal, independent films, is that going to be done for? And Disney basically assured that, hey, you know, we want to continue to make these films, continue this legacy, and that's what we intend to do. And again, when they showed the logos and the brands underneath the Disney logo, Fox Searchlight, along with 20th Century Fox, were two logos that were there, which leads us to believe, and Disney has assured through this presentation, that those brands are very much alive, just under a new banner. So how they integrate that, I don't know, but that makes me happy. There's so many Fox Searchlight films that I love, and I just think it's great that they're going to continue that tradition. So that makes me feel a little better about the Fox-Disney merger, actually. So there's that. All right, so some of the other things that we saw at the Disney presentation was a look at their slate ahead for basically the animated adaptation, animated to live action films. First one that's coming up is Aladdin, which comes out this summer. What they did is they showed basically a full extended scene. It's probably not full. I mean, it's really an abbreviated full scene, because I know that's probably not everything. But the sequence where Aladdin goes into the cave to retrieve the genie thingy. What do you call that? Lamp. Basically, we follow Aladdin going into the cave to retrieve the lamp, which contains the genie inside. And you get a peek at him going through. You have Apu, the little monkey that's following in. You know, Aladdin is telling him don't take anything, and etc. etc. He climbs up the rock and rubs the lamp. Genie comes out. A lot of stuff which you've seen in the trailer, and Will Smith as the genie pops out. So there's a lot of controversy over Will Smith being blue and looking like the genie. I get it, like that it can be a little off-putting seeing that in live action, but for me personally, I'm just like, what? He looks like the genie. Of course he's going to be blue. He's going to have the weird hairdo thing and all that other stuff, like whatever. The only difference is it's Will Smith and not Robin Williams. So I don't know. Maybe I just have less of a problem with that. Leave it up to you guys if it's still a problem for you. But the scene that we saw was very energetic. It was very showy of him singing the song "Friend Like Me," kind of like "You Got a Friend in Me" from Toy Story. Cricket sound. So anyways, they go through that whole music number. Again, it's very much in kind of Guy Ritchie's style, very showy, very musical kind of thing, and obviously an attempt to recreate the animated version of it. So, I don't know, I've never been that fond of Aladdin. It's not like a tried and true classic for me. I liked it, but I don't hold any of it so dear to my heart that I can't let Will Smith be the genie or whatever they're going to do with it. I'm fine with it. I thought the effects looked pretty good. I thought the acting would be fine. It just seems like, is it necessary? Not really. I mean, the animated film was fine. But I think it'll be entertaining. I think people will enjoy it. Some people are not really feeling it. I get it. I'm fine with it. I'm fairly, I guess I'm just lukewarm. Like, yeah, it looks cool, fine. I'm not excited. Maybe you are. I don't know. I'll leave it to you. But what we saw looked cool. It looked cool enough. It was fine. So the other one that they highlighted, which they also highlighted last year, was The Lion King, which is being directed by Jon Favreau. And yeah, last year we saw the whole opening, which was recreated with like the same style that Favreau used in The Jungle Book, which was a massive success, obviously. And the opening last year at CinemaCon was pretty amazing. It blew the audience away. This time they showed an entire scene from the film, which is basically when Simba is waking up and he's waking up his dad, and they're supposed to go on their little walk, and it's the whole everything under the sun speech from Simba's dad, which again is voiced by James Earl Jones, which is really cool, and it's just great to hear his voice because it just takes you right back into it. So I moved my hand like that because that's what it means. It takes you right back in. But anyways, they go for their little walkabout, and James Earl Jones is kind of giving the speech, like, one day this will all be yours. So again, very much like the animated film, but with some subtle little twists. It's not exact word for word kind of thing. And they walk out, and then the bird, Zazu, comes flying out, as voiced by John Oliver, to give the news. And then Simba's dad has him do the little pounce and take him out to have a laugh. Nothing like a lion jumping on you to have a laugh. Oh, it's funny. We don't eat birds. We just eat antelope. Shit. Anyways, the highlight here is the CGI. I mean, it is amazing. My girlfriend did remark that it was amazing that they taught these lions how to talk, and I agree. I don't know how they did it, but it is amazing. They taught, I mean, we've come so far. It's amazing. I'm so flabbergasted. I'm joking, obviously. But the CGI is great. It is amazing just to see that come to life. I think this is going to be, I mean, they just start printing money now. I don't know how that works. I mean, I know how it works, but anyways, you know what I'm saying. They're going to make a lot of money. They're gonna take all of your money and put it in a Lion King bag, because this movie is going to make a shit ton of money. Kids are going to be lining up for it. I mean, you got Hans Zimmer's score again. You got James Earl Jones voicing. You got the CGI from the Jungle Book. It's kind of unfair, to be honest with you. Disney has stacked the deck. You're just gonna have to be like a curmudgeon-y asshole not to go see this movie at this point. But it looks great. Everything that we saw looked great. And they said it was still unfinished. So I was like, shit, what else are you gonna do? Like, I got nothing. I mean, shit, bring real lions to the theater. Don't do that. That would be terrible. The last thing that they highlighted from their slate that they showed us was some stuff from Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Again, starring Angelina Jolie and Elle Fanning, and this time Michelle Pfeiffer as a presumably good queen, but something tells me that the Maleficent Mistress of Evil in the title is actually referring to Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Shocker. I love Michelle Pfeiffer. Who doesn't love Michelle Pfeiffer? Are you crazy? But she looks like she's going to have a lot of fun in this, kind of playing this antagonist to the most evil Disney character, Queen. Makes a lot of sense. Maleficent, again, is now a good guy, and raising Elle Fanning. And now Elle Fanning is going to get married to the prince, and of course they're going to have their big, like, you know, wedding dinner thing where bring the whole family together. They could bring that crazy bitch in the forest with no wings that tried to kill everybody and keep that girl sleeping forever, who's now nice and is raising that girl. She's coming to the wedding party, and of course Michelle Pfeiffer's like, well, now she's gonna have a real family, and Maleficent's like, bitch, stands up and like turns all the lights out. And you know, when you turn all the lights out, business time. That shit's for real. So anyways, she's super pissed because Michelle Pfeiffer has ulterior motives of some sort. I'm not really quite clear, but that's pretty much it. I will say this. I never saw the first Maleficent. It just didn't really hold that much of an interest to me. I just wasn't really into it. I liked Sleeping Beauty as a kid, you know, the animated film. But I will say this. I think that the one thing that this has going for it is it doesn't have the weight of source material to deal with. They can kind of take it whatever direction they want. They kind of did that with Maleficent anyways, in changing shit around. But now they can, you know, there's nothing to hold them down. So there's got to be some freedom in being able to take that story in another direction. So if you're into Maleficent, I mean, I like Angelina Jolie, but it's not really enough for me to go see Maleficent. But if you're into that, this series, if it's going to continue, then this is for you. It looks very much in line with the other one. So Maleficent, she nice now. That's what it should be. Maleficent, she nice now. She good. So the other thing that we saw, which is one of the last holdover titles from Fox that's going out to Disney, is Ford v. Ferrari, Dawn of Justice. Just kidding, there's no Dawn of Justice, but it is Ford v. Ferrari. It is the new film from James Mangold, my good buddy, who did Logan, and it looks amazing. It looks absolutely stunning. Basically, they're recreating the events that led to Ford competing in the Le Mans race in 1966 against Ferrari. So the goal was, again, to create a car that would beat them, that could compete. And it just basically highlighting that entire journey with Christian Bale playing Ken Miles, and then Matt Damon playing Carroll Shelby. So they're basically working together with Christian Bale being the driver and Shelby being kind of one of the designers of the cars to kind of help out and to make this a reality. And then you also have John Bernthal as Lee Iacocca. It looks great. The cast is just amazing. You know that when you got Damon and you got Bale together that they're just going to chew the shit out of some scenery. I can't wait to just see more of that. I mean, they just teased so much of it as it was, and it just looks so great. The racing stuff looks great. It's just completely compelling. If you're missing like those kind of racing movies, which the last good one I saw was Rush from Ron Howard, which I haven't seen. I highly recommend. It's a great, very underlooked, underappreciated film. Give it a watch. But this looks really magnificent. This looks like totally a film that you have to see in theaters. It's got some really great race stunts, but it's also just got that dynamic of great actors just working off of each other. And again, it's a biopic. You know, this is coming from based on real true story. And who better than have James Mangold do that? Mangold has not let us down with his last few films. He's really been knocking out of the park. He's a great filmmaker, and he's somebody that when he gets behind the camera, it beckons your attention. You want to see it. And Ford v Ferrari looks amazing. So that one is definitely, when you see this trailer, I'm telling you right now, that is going to be on your radar and then some. So looks great. I can't wait to see it. There's really nothing more I could say about it. Just everything just looks like it coalesced and came together perfectly. And this is going to be a great film. I really, really think so. Okay, so that was it for the Disney presentation. Lots of great stuff. It's important to note, so at CinemaCon, what they're doing here, in case you don't know, is they're selling these films to exhibitors, to theater owners, letting them know, hey, this is the stuff that we're bringing out for you guys to play in your theaters. It's a worthwhile thing. Most of the studios, they bring out talent on stage, and they kind of do a little bit, and kind of try to help sell the movies. What's interesting to note here is Disney didn't do any of that. Disney just showed footage. That's it. And when people were walking out, they were talking about that footage. They weren't talking about the stars they just saw on the stage. They weren't talking about the people that came out or what they said. They were talking about the movies. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Disney is who they are. They have a very, very keen eye and a big awareness of what is going to leave people the biggest impression. And I think that's very interesting. It's a very interesting point that is how Disney's presentation went down. They didn't rely on stars to sell their movies. The stars are in the movies. They just played clips, they played footage, and that was it. See you later. Boom. And people are going to buy tickets. So just thought I'd share that. It's a very interesting thing. So that's it for the Disney presentations here at CinemaCon 2019. A lot of great stuff on the way. I mean, they showed the slate. It's the last thing I say, I promise. They showed the slate of films that are coming out from Disney. And it was like a nice little peppered population. They're like, and then we have our Fox titles. It was like, choo, 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 choo. Like the calendar is chock full. So bringing in Fox and bringing in their titles, like you've literally doubled the amount of films coming from Disney now. And that's pretty crazy, and you can't ignore it. So that's it from Disney at CinemaCon. Much more to come from us. So stay tuned here at JoBlo.com.